Hello, welcome to this new tutorial on the networking series. In today's lesson we're going to rebuild this network structure where we have two switches and two routers connected one to another, distributed in 3 networks. So the purpose of this exercise is to set up the communication between these two networks in between these two routers with static routing. The static routing will enable us to for computers on this segment of the network, on this left hand side network, to reach all the nodes on the right hand side network, which is I have described here as network 3. So we have network 3, 2 and 1. Without static routing, just by connecting these two routers, there wouldn't be any way for the computers on network 1 to reach computers on network 3. So that's where static routing comes into place. So let's get started. Let's configure this all from scratch, and we're going to start by just adding 2 routers to the middle of the board. I will add also some computers on the other end. I will add some more computers onto the other end, and we need also probably 2 switches. I'm going to be using these 2 switches here. So now that we have our network a little bit organized, we're going to connect to make the physical connections. We're using crossover cables to connect these 2 routers, and with the same type of cabling I will connect the switch and the computers. So once we have all these computers, all these networking devices connected physically, we will start doing our logical part, which will start in a second. We just do this all from scratch. I just want to do it from scratch so you can follow along. If I skipped something explaining with an already made setup, there might be things that I just forget to mention, so it's good to do it in real time. So this we call network 1 with IP address on this range of 000 with a mask of 24. This is what we call network 1, and the network 2 will be in the middle, lying on the middle. We will choose a very different IP address range, the 192.168.10.252. We are going to give this a mask of 30 so that we have only 2 IP available for this network. And on the third one we are going to use we call it network 3. For this one we will use of the range 172.0.10.0 with a mask of 24 bits. So this is what we have to our disposal to distribute in a network. So the next thing that I will do is just hook up my laptop to the first router with a console cable coming out from the serial port RS232 into the console. So we just double click and connect via the terminal. I will say no to this because I will make the configuration all manually, and I won't get into the details of the configuration of the router. Might not be the safest for a production environment, but it is all about analyzing how the static routing works. So the only thing I will do for this router is configure a host name. I will call this router left, and I will head on to configure the interfaces on configure terminal. The interface gigabit 0.0.0, which is the belonging to the second network. So we are going to access that interface and assign an IP address to that interface with the command IP address 192.168.10.253, which is the next available IP address in that subnet. The mask for this one will be 252, and after that we issue the command not shut down, which will bring the interface up. So now that we are here in this same router, it'll be a good idea to configure the interface heading towards the network 1. So I access that interface, and with the command IP address 10.0.0.1 and the mask 255.255.255.0, I apply the IP address to that interface with a not shut command. I'll make sure that the interface is up and running. We can see now how everything turned green in this area. On the network 2, things are not that green yet because we still need to configure the IP address for the right hand router. So I'm going to move with my computer, and I will connect onto that console port. I will launch the terminal, and I will configure this computer with just a simple basic configuration, no security. For those things, I recommend you check out one of the other videos I have uploaded in the past. So as for this one, I will just configure the host name, and I will call this a router right, and in router right I will access the interface 0.0.0, and I will give this interface the IP address 192.168.10.254, which is the next available IP address, and the last, in fact, 252. That will be my mask, and I say not shut. Let's see how it turns green. Automatically it turns green at the moment that I bring my interface up. So now that we are here, I might as well want to configure the interface 0/0/1, which is the one that corresponds to the network number 3. So I exit from this interface and I access the next interface, and I issue the IP address 170.10.1. I'm gonna call it 1.255.255.255.0. not shut down to bring that interface up, and now we should then give at least one of those computers an IP address and start pinging our default gateway. So I will configure this PC3 here. I will assign an IP address, the 172.0.10.2 with the mask of 24 bits, and 172.0.10.1, so that now having an IP assigned to this router, I will see if I can ping the router, the default gateway. So ping 172.0.0.10.1. that is indeed the interface, my default gateway for this matter. and I'm able to ping this properly, no problem. I still haven't configured this over two computers, but I will look to that into a moment. And now we're going to configure on this end also at least one of my computers, so that we can do some pinging operations. And we're gonna call these two 255.255.255.0 10.0.0.1, and we're gonna try to ping our default gateway, which is the IP assigned to this interface of the router, and it goes well. The problem will occur when we try to reach that network, the network tree. That's when things get tricky, because if I ping 172.0.10.1, we might just not reach it because we don't have a route that will bring us up there. So that's what we're going to do right now. I will start from the left hand side to the right again, and I will add a route, a static route. A static route, we basically tell the router, like, look, when somebody asks or requests that network 172.0.10.0, please send packets throughout this interface that I will tell you, in this case the interface /000 of the gigabit. So what we do is we set up a route with the IP route command, and we choose the destination network, in this case 172.0.10.0. that's the mask of that network, and then we have to indicate where are we going to send those packets. Usually you can give here an interface, an IP address directly configured to your router, or an interface. In this case I'm doing it with an interface. So it's done. I set the route. Now I will go into another route and I will do exactly the same, because chances are that you have a static route going in one direction, but the package might reach your target network, but they might not be able to go back. So let's configure this one as well. Let's do that. So I exit this interface in which I was, and I will do the exact same thing. I say IP route destination 0.0.0 on a mask 255.255.255.0, and basically, something say that yep, because I need to also tell which is going to be the interface to reach the network. So I did it. I set up the routes on both routers. Now I'm going to make a test and see how this works. It might take a while sometimes. So let's ping a computer from the other end, 0.0.0.1. that is the interface on the other end is giving me a timeout. Sometimes it happens because we have to wait for the routes to propagate properly, and we see now start responding. You see, yep, 254. This is it is okay. The same should happen from the other end. If we ping this guy from one of those computers, we should be able to reach. Might not reach at the first shot, but we have to give the network some little time for the routes to propagate across networks and so. So yeah, this is also replying. Very good. Yeah, that is basically what it's all about. I haven't configured these computers here, but it's basically the same dynamics. It's the same dynamics. We just give these guys an IP address, and it should be able to ping also those other guys up there. I guess the 2 is this laptop here, this computer. The first time I take a while until it propagates, and then it now knows that. So I'm not going to do this same thing with other computers. I assume you might by now get the point. And yep, so thanks for watching.